Katie Halper has definitely unleashed the Kraken. She has definitely unleashed the Kraken. She was on Piers Morgan recently, and I think she really took this PragerU guy out. Let's go ahead and get into the first part of this discussion here. Check it out.
Shabbos is doing is kind of typical talking points. So a couple things to remember is that Israel consistently lies and Israel's defenders consistently lie because they don't have the facts on the ground and they certainly don't have the moral argument. And I think it's really rich for Shabbos to suggest that someone like Peter Beinart is perhaps an anti-Semite or a self-loathing Jew. And that's also a trick.
I did not say that at all.
Yes, you did. You said that you take them as what they say, and just because they're Jewish, you're not going to say they're not anti-Semitic or self-loathing.
And I specifically said I am not using Peter as an example. I'm saying in general, I'm not going to assume that because someone's Jewish identity deflects criticism. So don't say that I called him an anti-Semite. I literally didn't.
But you basically suggested that just because he's Jewish, he doesn't get a get out of jail free card, which is a fair enough argument. But the truth is that Jews like Peter Beinart are much less anti-Semitic than Jews who defend Israel, because when you are live streaming a genocide and saying that this is for the sake of Jewish people, you are putting all Jews at risk. I mean, let's table the fact that this is a very inhumane and unjust and immoral and illegal genocide. And that's not just me saying that, that's countless genocide experts, that's, Zionists who have been saying that. That's B'Tselem, the Israeli human rights organization, the Israeli Jewish human rights organization, B'Tselem says it's a genocide. Physicians for Human Rights says it's a genocide. All of these Israeli organizations say it's a genocide. But what we have to remember is that there's also a trick. In fact, there was a minister of Israel who said that this is the trick we play. When we talk to people, we bring up the Holocaust and we bring up anti-Semitism. And we do that whenever someone criticizes Israel. And this
big trick. That's right. They make it very clear that that is the trick. That is the goal. Do you guys notice the PragerU guy? He's sitting there crossing his arms like he is annoyed. That's the I'm annoyed pose.
This woman, Shalomit Aloni, was a minister of education in Israel. And so what we're going to see throughout this panel, I assume and I predict from watching past panels, is we're going to see a lot of lying, a lot of obfuscation, and a lot of claims that people are anti-Semitic or picking on Israel unfairly or self-loathing Jews. And you should just bear that in mind. And Shabbos, I just watched the panel with you and you lied through your teeth the entire time. You even said, fact check me on something. You said that Pierce asked you if the proportion of children killed was higher in Gaza than it was in other wars. And you said that it was as high in other wars. And you named the Syrian Civil War, Vietnam, and Korea. Unfortunately, the stats don't back you up. And the proportion of children killed in all of those wars was lower. I can go over the stats with you, but was lower than the proportion of children killed in Gaza. So we have an active genocide going on. It is actually illegal for the United States to support this genocide. It violates the Leahy Law. It violates the Foreign Assistance Act. It is a threat to every living person, basically. And of course, ironically, now I don't speak out because this has a dangerous effect on Jews. It does have a dangerous effect on Jews. I speak out because I believe that Palestinians are human beings with human rights. I also speak out because Israel doesn't get to speak for all Jews. But the irony is that for all the people like you who talk about Jewish safety, the irony is that you are making Jews less safe. Israel is making Jews less safe. AIPAC is making Jews less safe. The ADL is making Jews less safe. And you're engaging in the anti-Semitic trope of equating Jewishness with Zionism. Every time that you claim that all Jews have to be Zionists or that it's anti-Semitic to be anti-Zionist, you are leaning into that dual loyalty trope, which claims that all Jews are a monolith and we all support Israel. And again, when you're live streaming a genocide that the entire world sees and you're saying that this is for the sake of Jews, I don't know how that's good for the Jews.
Katie hit the nail on the head right there. I think that part is very important for people to hear because, honestly, I've already been seeing it too, where people are conflating the two. And she's right. What is happening is that the doubling down on the support for Israel from people like Shabbat, the dude who's posing like he's in an old school like R&B video, that dude, for people like him, they are actually making it worse because doubling down and all the racist rhetoric that we have seen from Israel or the defense of the racist rhetoric that we've seen, that doesn't make people like Israel more. That makes people dislike Israel more. People who already dislike them will dislike them more. People who did not dislike them may start to dislike them. And it's already going that way if you look at the numbers, the polls, right? So people who may have been pro Israel, even like Marjorie Taylor Greene is starting to call it out now and say, whoa, this is genocide. What the hell is going on here? So the doubling down does not help Israel. And I've said this before. I don't think people are going to forget this. I think what has been done in Gaza and what is continuing to happen in Gaza and in the West Bank, I think Israel's vile, racist, disgusting, genocidal rhetoric and actions is not going to help Israel in the end. They are seen as the enemy. Most people look at you and see you as the enemy. So you can come and talk about Russia or Maduro, as people are bringing up now. Now the Trump administration is trying to draw your attention to, let's go get Maduro. Let's go we'll give a $50 million bond for someone to tell us where Maduro is and capture him. That is a distraction. They are trying to turn you away from the genocide that's happening in the Middle East and turn your attention towards Maduro, who is not committing a genocide. So instead of arresting Benjamin Netanyahu, who should be arrested, they are trying to arrest Maduro. It's just another freaking distraction. But this is not helping Jewish people. It is not. And I said it before too. Someone even told me this a couple of days ago. They are even at the point now where they are afraid to have communication with someone who is that way, because they're scared. And this is the thing, they said they're scared. Like, what if they flip the tables on me? And next thing you know, they start pointing fingers at me and start calling me anti-Semitic. And what am I supposed to do? The rabid Zionists, pro-Israel, genocidal, racist douchebags, they are making it so that people are starting to feel like they have to walk on eggshells around you. And when it gets to that point where people feel like they have to walk on eggshells around you, people are not trying to be around you, boo. People are not trying to be around you. So she is right. She is correct about that. Let's go on a little bit more here, and then we'll jump to the shushing part.
Okay. Benjamin Molam, let me bring you in here. It's actually very interesting to me to have 4 Jews debating this, because I think that's the way it should be actually at this stage, because I'm aware that in the Jewish community globally, there is, as Peter said, a lot of debate and argument and massive difference of opinion between families and friends. It's dividing a lot of people around the world in the Jewish community. My issue with what is happening in Gaza is it doesn't seem to be showing any evidence of Israel's original stated war aims being achieved. The hostages are not being released and haven't been since February, pre the blockade. Hamas have clearly not been defeated by any stretch of the imagination at all, and continue to taunt Israel with horrific videos of these hostages being treated in the most disgusting manner. Although I raised a point yesterday on X, and I wasn't trying to be, political about it. I wasn't trying to be anti-Semitic or anything else. I simply said it was interesting to me that Hamas put out footage that is accepted immediately as 100% credible, and everybody on the pro-Israeli side, rightly, because I think they are genuine videos, was raging about this. And they were horrific and disgusting, and Hamas are horrific and disgusting. But there's a completely different attitude towards the Gaza Health Ministry figures, which are released about casualties. Even though, as Peter points out in his book, the Gaza Health Ministry actually includes names. Whereas if you ask any senior Israeli that I've interviewed, the Israeli ambassador to the UK, she knew exactly how many Hamas terrorists had been killed, but she had no idea and couldn't tell me how many civilians have been killed. They don't keep a record. And so, I was just curious. I was curious why the utter credulous reaction to awful videos, but utter incredulity to casualty numbers, when it would appear historically that the Gaza Health Ministry numbers tend generally to be pretty accurate and accepted by Israel after the event. Only now, since October the 7th, has everybody on the pro-Israeli side that I've had arguments with about this said, actually, none of it's true. You can't believe any of it. We know we've killed 30,000 terrorists. We've no idea how many civilians have died. None of that is credible to me. So sorry for the little rant there, but it's something that comes.
Yeah, I wanted you guys to hear that part because I thought that was interesting. But I just wanted to pause here because I wanted to show you that he still has his arms crossed. He looks like he's from one of the R&B videos. What's the one with his? He's like, girl, you know that time when you broke up with me? I heard about it. I just didn't call you because I had other things on my mind. What'd you do to me, girl? Come back, baby, come back. That's what he reminds me of with the arm crosses, like, girl, color me bad. I was saying, he said a color me bad reject. Oh my God.
It took me a lot on X. And I just found that an interesting thing to watch in the last couple of days. But what is your reaction generally to the point Peter made about the increased threat he believes is now happening to Israelis and to Jewish people around the world as a result of the current war strategy of Netanyahu's government?
So allow me to begin by addressing your point about the difference between the video of Vyatar David and Ron Braslavsky and the numbers that come out from the Gaza Health Ministry. The video that was released, it was released by the Israeli government after they showed the family and analyzed it. And obviously there's not this difference between video evidence and numbers that come out from a Hamas health ministry that nobody really knows how it operates. And it's clear that they have a deliberate policy of starving the hostages. It's something that they've said, something that has been assessed, something that you can see. There's no deliberate policy of starvation when it comes to Israel's policy vis-a-vis aid into Gaza.
So let's go ahead and debunk him, right? So first of all, guess what food the hostages eat? The hostages eat the same food that Hamas eats. Guess what food Hamas eats? The same food that the other Palestinians in Gaza eat. So whatever Israel allows to come in is what they eat. Whatever they allow to come in and they can actually get and they're not killed getting is what they eat. So see, this is why his statement doesn't make any sense. That's a bunch of BS. That's where this is going. That's why you run into this issue. That's the problem. What did they think? Did they think that Hamas had like this secret stash of like Twinkies and like fruit roll-ups like stashed away for a rainy day? Did they think that Hamas like had like this secret refrigerator that was different food than what the other Palestinians were getting in Gaza? What did they expect to happen? This was never really about the hostages in the beginning. Because if it was really about the hostages, I say this, when it was reported that they found out that this plan, they found the plans for this attack a year and a half before, why didn't they put any measures in place to prevent that from happening? The response from the IDF was that they didn't take those plans seriously. No, I call BS on that. They took them seriously. They let it happen because they wanted it to happen, because that would be their way to get rid of all of them and to take complete control in the rest of the land in Gaza. That's what they wanted to happen. If it was so much about those hostages, why did they break the ceasefires all the time? Every time there was a temporary ceasefire agreement, why did Israel continue to break it? Because it wasn't really about the hostages. Israel was willing to allow the hostages, to allow them to die and to take over all the land than they are to save them. That's really what this is about. So Katie comes back in, and this is the part I think that is going around on social media, and she unleashes the Kraken here. Check this out.
Katie, the last word to respond. Katie.
Well, it's really not difficult. Israel is obliged to follow international law and international humanitarian law. It violates it literally every day. It doesn't respect rules of proportionality, rules of distinction. I think it's really dangerous for Shabbos to try to say that the genocide in Israel is somehow related to Judaism. That's certainly not good for the Jews. I think that what you're describing is an ethno-state and ethno-supremacy. I don't want a state to be given rights because of what is said in the Torah. I don't think that's fair. I don't think you'd accept that if any other leader did it. And the truth is, this is a distraction. The important thing to know is that Israel is an apartheid state. It is committing genocide as we speak. It is starving people. What the United States needs to do for its own self-interest, for its own self-interest is cut off all funding because it violates the Leahy Law, the Foreign Assistance Act. Also, you kept talking, Shabbos, about how popular and how supported Israel is. Actually, support for Israel is at a historic all-time low, lower than it's ever been since modern polling. And that's because they see what Israel's doing. Everyone sees it. They see the children with their arms blown off. They see the children who are getting amputations without anesthetic. And they see that Israel is also not just doing this, but celebrating. I mean, why are the IDF wearing the lingerie of the women who they ethnically cleanse? Why are they taking selfies of themselves in front of exploded universities and mosques? That is sick. And why do the majority of Israeli people actually support ethnic cleansing, not getting rid of Hamas? And also, no one mentioned the fact that Hamas has already agreed to give up political power. So if that's what this was about, then you would be negotiating. Israel has freed far more hostages through negotiation than they have through military actions. I believe the ratio is around 8 to 140. But Israel has decided that the priority is not saving hostages. It's also not defeating Hamas, because everyone knows that Hamas has grown since October 7th, not decreased. Yep. Their priority is ethnically cleansing, creating a greater Israel, and killing Palestinians. That's their priority. And we know this because Netanyahu also said, Netanyahu said that if, let me just finish one sentence. Netanyahu said that if the hostages were released, he still would keep launching the war. So all the talking points about how Hamas could end this tomorrow if they just released the hostages is a lie.
Okay, I was going to leave it there, but
bam. I mean, what can you say? It's true, though. That's the thing. Like, Israel literally tells you what they are going to do. They say it out in the open. And that's what Netanyahu has said. He said, like, even if when they get all the hostages back, they're still going to continue to try to kill the people and take the land, because that's what they are. They're colonizers.
Given, Shabbos, you've been putting your finger up to speak in a very plaintive way for the last few minutes, I'll give you 20 seconds to respond.
Well, I could have just done the Anna Kasparian and just yell, but I thought this was more respectful. First of all, it's astounding that I can make a reasoned argument and the response is apartheid, genocide, settler colonialism. There's a theological...
Wait, those are facts. That's not a hysterical, emotional thing. It's been documented. No, don't shush me and don't make... What is this? Are you doing like an Italianism? No. You're lying. You're lying. Apartheid is not... Oh, you're not going to do the Anna Kasparian? Shut up. Apartheid is not an emotion. Apartheid has been proven by every credible human rights organization. Why does B'Tselem say there's apartheid? What's their ulterior motive? Are they a cabal of self-loathing Jews? Why do they say there's apartheid if there's not? Why is settler colonialism?
It's remarkable
what did Jabotinsky say about Israel? He said natives always resist colonizers, and he was talking about Israel. It is a settler colonial project. It is a genocidal project, and that's why you can listen to former heads of Mossad who say it's genocide.
Okay, let Shabbos finish his point, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Again,
Shabbos.
Yeah. We're going to drop the mic for Katie. You know, I hate it when people do that. I hate it when people do the shh, shh, shh. It's so like, I feel like it's so condescending. I hate when people do that, right? So dude's mad because he got his ass handed to him. I noticed he finally unfolded his arms, but that's the thing. This is what they do. They try to tell you that, oh, if you mention apartheid, if you mention genocide, that's just your emotions. That's just an emotional feeling. It's not actually true. As if we don't have a president to look at. As if we don't have the precedent of South Africa to look at. That's why these people think we're dumb. As if we just can't go back and, oh yeah, what about apartheid South Africa? Yeah, we'll apply the same measure to you. You don't get a pass, right? So that's why this thing is driving me crazy. They feel like they act like there's no history for us to look at and go off of. The same way we had a problem with apartheid South Africa, we have a problem with apartheid Israel. And it's just crazy to me that he just feels like you can just tell people, shh, shh. You know what I mean? Katie killed it on this episode. I think the first time she went on there, they wouldn't let her speak as much, and she was going up against Alan Dershowitz, but she killed it on this episode. We do got to drop the beat for Katie. We haven't dropped the beat in a while, have we? Dropping the beat! Dance with me. Dance with me. Drop the beat. In the street. Great job there, Katie. Great job. I will see Katie not this weekend, but the next weekend, I believe. She's going to be part of that panel as well. Looking forward to that in New Jersey at Icarus Fest. So I'll be sure to share that with you guys as well. But she came in and she unleashed the Kraken. And it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Pushing back against the propaganda. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.